Hey guys. Okay, so whenever I have the bad news conversation with people, the one where I have to crush their hopes and dreams by telling them that council won't support their proposal and therefore I can't lodge it for them. Well, whenever I have that conversation with people, they always bite back with the same response. Oh, but there is countless examples where other people have done that exact thing in my immediate area. Or Joe down the street or Mary up the street. They've done exactly what I want to do. In that situation, my response is always, look, I'll tell you now, 95% of the time, those examples, they're not comparable to your situation. You can't rely on them. But each time I have to say, look, send them through. I'll have a look at each one, knowing full well what the outcome's going to be. Anyway, so I thought, why don't I use this week's video to kind of talk you through the 5 reasons why I give that response so that you can hopefully temper your expectations, let's just say. Basically be ready for this sort of response before you get too excited. Because I can understand people naturally look around and go, great, there's the examples, they've done it, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So let's start. Number 1, the date on the approval is relevant. So back prior to 2014, for example, there was no story limit on houses across the city. So you could do as many stories as you wanted. Now, approvals could be issued under that planning scheme, so back prior to 2014, or even within a year post that under the superseded request. So you could lodge it within that time period, then you could choose to sit on it for a couple of years before you actually start construction. And then heck, construction could take a while. So there could be approvals, or not approvals, there could be sites around you which have only been completed for, let's say, 5 years, but they were approved back under the old rule book before these rules existed. So you really, really need to look at when the approval was issued and has council's rules or requirements changed since that point in time. When it comes to height, when it comes to character, all of that sort of stuff, the answer is yes, council has cracked down on those aspects. So unfortunately, those old approvals can't be used now because that was the old way of doing things. As we always say, we don't want to replicate the planning mistakes of the past, now do we? Okay, point number 2, each and every site is unique. So we regularly see situations where you might have one zone on one side of the road and a totally different zone on the opposite side of the road. So I had this the other day. It was LMR2 on one side, so 2 stories, but then it was like medium density on the other side, 5 stories. So properties directly opposite each other have totally different rules. We also regularly see like not hopscotch, what am I trying to say here? Like a real checkerboard pattern of properties when it comes to the traditional building character overlay. So you could have one site that's in the TBC overlay, next site not, next 2 sites yes, next 3 sites not, etc, etc. So again, you can end up having 2 sites side by side, one subject to the character rules and the other one's not subject to the character rules. So you can't necessarily look at what's directly next door over the road and compare it to yourself. Now, number 3, certifiers. The reality is these rules are constantly evolving and changing. And if you're used to working in one area on one type of project and all of a sudden you jump across to a different area, different type of project, you may not be 100% up to date with the rules and requirements. They should be, let's be honest. Unfortunately, the rules are written in a way to say that they should be. But the reality is we're all humans and we sometimes make mistakes. So we do occasionally find situations where the certifier has signed off on it, not realizing those rules or requirements were in play. Let me get my words out. I need coffee. So yeah, you might find a situation where it's kind of slipped through the cracks. Next, number 4, people can get creative. So again, I'll come back to the height limit. You're technically allowed 2 stories plus a basement. You can also have multiple levels. You just got to make sure that they're not overlapping by 2 stories at any one point. I always say to people, if you put a knife through the cut a knife through the cake, you need to make sure you're going through no more than 2 layers at any one point in time. So it may look to you on the outside as being a 3-story house or a 4-story house, but technically when you look at the plans, you might find that it's really just 2 stories in a basement, or they've just overlapped it, or they haven't overlapped it, I should say, enough to constitute a 3rd story. Now the final thing, let's be honest, people do the dodgy Rogy, as I like to call it. So we do sometimes see people who get approval for 2-story houses raised up on posts, and then they come back later and they just happen to fill in that undercroft area. Now, I've obviously done videos on this in the past to talk about why you shouldn't go down that path, but let's be honest, it does happen. So again, you might look at your neighbours or you might look down the street and go, but they got approval. Well, they may not necessarily have gotten approval. So there you go, the 5 reasons why when people come to me and go, but I've got all these examples, my reaction is just to go, yeah, not going to help you. Please don't get your hopes up. Okay, that covers off everything I want to talk about today. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got three. Number one, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number two, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number three, what was my number three? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.